guys, what's going on? It's Cardtrix 8 here. Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I am going to be teaching you one of the most useful sleights in card magic today, and that is the classic pass. Now, for those of you who are unfamiliar with what the classic pass or just what a pass is in general, it is a method used to cut a deck of cards, but in complete secrecy. The spectator does not know you are cutting the deck of cards. Now, there are several different types of passes. There are really two main types of passes. There is the classic pass, which we are going to go over in this video, and then there is the hermit pass. You guys may have heard of other terms such as the jiggle pass, the dribble pass, the turnover pass, the midnight shift. All of those passes are basically just slight variations on the classic and the hermit pass. Again, today we're going to be going over the classic pass, which looks a little something like, if we say take the 8 of clubs, place it on top, we can cut it right here into the center of the deck, or we can take the deck and riffle, and it comes right to the top. That is, again, what the classic pass is going to look like. Do I have the best pass on the planet? No. You want to talk about the best pass? That's maybe going to go to Alex Pandrea. That shit is invisible as hell, but, you know, again, props to that man. But anyways, in today's video, I'm going to be giving you my tips, my tricks on the classic pass. So let's learn how to do the classic pass. Alright guys, hopefully you stuck around to learn the classic pass. So let's get into it. So a quick little disclaimer, for those of you who are just trying this move out for the very first time, it will take a lot of practice. It is somewhat of an advanced move. And if you feel soreness in your fingers, you know, when you're done practicing for however much time, 20, 30 minutes, that's normal. Again, your muscles aren't used to doing this move, so your fingers will be sore. Again, that's completely normal. Do not worry about it, all right? So let's get into it. So for starters, if this is your very first time attempting the classic pass, go ahead and get rid of half the deck. This move will be a lot easier to master and to learn and getting the hang of if you're just using roughly 26 cards. Practice it, master it, and once you do, go ahead and then add more cards. Then practice and keep going until you master that. Once you've done that, add more cards and continue the cycle until you can do it with the entire deck. If you've already been practicing for some time, then just stick with the whole deck. You should be fine. So for starters, let's look at the exposed view of the classic pass. This is what it looks like, okay? So essentially all that's happening is you are taking the top packet and moving it to the bottom. Here's the mechanics, and here is how this is going to happen, okay? So most of the time you are going to start off with a pinky break. Usually the spectator will select a card, put it in the deck, you catch a break, do your pass. To start out for now, simply just get a break at a random spot in the deck and then work on the pass. Once you get more experienced, then I'm going to give you a tip later on that's going to help you with this move so much more, okay? So essentially you want to obtain a break just anywhere in the deck to start, okay? Once you have your pinky break, you're not going to keep a normal pinky break. You're going to do something pretty unprecedented when it comes to holding breaks. You're going to take your pinky, and instead of holding the flesh break, you're actually going to shove your pinky in that break. So it looks a little something like this. So look, you're going from here to here. You're really shoving your pinky inside that break, okay? Once you shove the pinky inside, you're going to take your middle and ring finger and you're going to curl it above the top packet just as so. And now there's a couple pressure points. Middle ring finger are going to be pushing down on the top packet. Pinky finger is going to be pushing up on the top packet simultaneously, okay? So you're giving the deck sort of like a death grip, but don't let the term death grip fool you, because that might think your hand has to be really tense and you're really squeezing as hard as you can. Don't do that. If you get all tense, it's going to be very obvious you're doing something. So push up with the pinky, push down, but just very light push, just a very nice, just so it's tight enough so you can actually grip the packet, okay? Then what's going to happen is you're going to come over with the opposite hand, and you're going to grip the deck just like this. So from the front, you have your middle ring and pinky gripping just the bottom packet. That is very, very important. You don't want to grip the top packet, or otherwise you're not going to be able to move it. You just want to make contact with the bottom packet. So these three fingers right here, this finger can be on top slightly. You don't want to obviously apply pressure, otherwise you're not going to be able to move it. Just kind of keep it there and rest it. So this is going to be the top hand positioning. The thumb is obviously at the back. Again, just make contact with the bottom packet. Don't touch this top packet, okay? So let's look at this again. Get a break. Shove your pinky in there. Then take these two fingers just as so and curl them above. And then place your hand just like this. So this is going to be the grip for the classic pass. Now what's going to be happening is you're essentially taking this hand with these three fingers, and they're doing all the work. You're going to grip, and you're taking those three fingers and you're pulling. You're literally pulling the packet out, down, and you're going to be taking this bottom packet with this hand with the index finger right here. You're just going to be tilting it up ever so slightly. This will make it easier for you to maneuver the top packet to the bottom. Fold it down just like this. Square up. That's pretty much all there is to it. Now, as I say that, that probably sounds really easy, but you're going to find out in a second it's actually a very, very knacky move when learning it for the very first time. It takes a little bit to get the hang of. You're just going to have to practice it over and over again until you can do this very, very smoothly. So, again, you have a pinky break, but you shove the pinky in there just as so. Your middle ring finger curl above just like this. Come over with the other hand. Grip it just as shown, three fingers at the bottom edge. Index finger kind of chills at the top, thumb at the bottom edge. Again, when you're coming over with the free hand, make sure you're only making contact with the bottom packet. Don't touch this packet, otherwise it's going to be very hard to maneuver. So you're here, and then you take these three fingers, and you use them to squeeze, and you pull. You're pulling this packet out, pull it downwards, take this packet, which is the original bottom packet, and tilt it up, just like this. This will make it easier for you to maneuver this packet down to the bottom, fold it, put this packet on top, square up. And a quick little tip that I can give you here is to start off, so let's say you're here, right? I would practice holding just half the deck like this and doing this. Just practice doing this. So essentially, practicing this hand motion time and time again is going to allow you to build muscle memory in your fingers, and then when actually going to execute a classic pass, it'll be much easier for you and it'll feel less awkward. So keep practicing this. Once you feel comfortable with that, then attempt the classic pass over and over again. And again, the more and more you do it, the less awkward it'll feel. It'll feel more natural as you do it, okay? So anyways, let's look at it one more time. Get a pinky break. Shove your pinky in there as deep as you can. Pause. And then we have the middle and ring fingers that are going to be on top, pushing down as the pinky pushes up simultaneously. Come over with the free hand and grip it as I said before. And then use those three fingers to pull the packet out, pull it down, and then tilt up the original bottom packet at the same exact time to help make it easier to maneuver it to the bottom. Once you have cleared the two packets, fold this packet down and then square up. And those are the basic mechanics of the classic pass. So hopefully you can see that the mechanics of the move really aren't that difficult. It's just going to take time to get used to and to really get the feel for. However, there are a couple of other things to consider when performing the classic pass. You want to angle your hands correctly, and you also want to use some sort of cover for the move. So let me show you a couple of examples per se. So when it comes to angling the hands, this is what I'm talking about. Take a look at this. If I were to literally just do this out in the open, you can see how bad that looks. That looks terrible. But it looks a little bit better if you were to tilt your hands just as so. Is mine perfect? No, I don't have, again, I don't have the most perfect classic pass in the world, but it looks better when you're maneuvering the hands a little bit. So I actually have pretty small hands for a 17-year-old guy. I'm going to admit my hands are pretty tiny, not even going to lie to you guys. What works for me the best is once I have my break, I tilt the deck up ever so slightly, not like all the way up like this, but just a little slight tilt up in the deck. And then as I'm pulling the packet out, I tilt down and I turn my body like this. So I just kind of go woo, And then for me, that hides the move the best. That works for me. You guys have to play around with it a little bit. Like, this is one of those moves you want to practice in a mirror as much as you can to really get the hang of it. So yeah, find out what angles work best for you. But for me, this is what works the best, all right? Admittedly, the one thing that I could get better at, and one thing you guys should always, practice as well, is keeping the deck as silent as possible. I'm in a sealed off room right now, so you can hear every little thing. But when you're in a public scenario, no one's really going to hear tiny little things going on in the deck. So for example, you don't want your pass to sound something like this. You don't want to do something like that. It's going to be very, very noisy. You want to try to keep it more like this. See how quiet that was? Very, very quiet. You want to try to keep the deck as quiet as possible when performing the pass, because then spectators won't think you're up to anything, okay? So that's the angles. But now, let's talk about providing cover for the pass. Now, a quick little disclaimer. This next part I'm about to show you, don't really practice any of this until you get this mechanic down. Get this down first. Just really get this down 100%, moving that top packet to the bottom as I just taught you, okay? Once you learn how to do that, you've perfected that, then learn what I'm about to teach you, and that's using different covers. So, one of my favorite covers is known as the riffle pass. Now again, the riffle pass is the classic pass, just a different variation. So a normal classic pass would literally just be this. The riffle pass would be a little something like this. You're using a riffle to help justify and cover up the move. So I like to give the deck a riffle, do the pass, and then riffle again. It just looks like you're playing around with the deck that way. Or you can even add more to it. You can, be dribbling the deck, riffle the deck, do the pass, and then riffle the deck again. It just looks like you're playing around with the deck, just kind of, just fidgeting with them a little bit. It doesn't look like you're really doing much, you know what I'm saying? So that's one way to do it. The other way, and this is one of the most invisible ways, at least in my opinion, and that is the dribble pass. Now the dribble pass looks something like this. Let's say we take this card, the Jack of Clubs, for example. We cut it into the center of the deck, just as so. You can already see it is at the top of the deck. So it looks like I'm just dribbling the card, but I'm actually doing a pass. I'm using the larger action to cover up the smaller action, the larger action being the riffle or the dribble, the smaller action being the pass, right? So in order to do the dribble pass, again, I love this move so much. In slow motion, basically this is what's happening in slow motion. You're doing your classic pass just like this. But instead of just setting this down, you're dribbling that top packet just as so. Now, a common misconception I see a lot of beginners do is they do the classic pass and then they dribble the cards. No, that is incorrect. What you're supposed to do is do the pass, but take that top packet, don't set it down, then dribble, pass, and then this packet that's in the hand, dribble. So this is the classic pass, this is the dribble pass. That's essentially what's happening. And of course, again, make sure you're angling your hands correctly, so it should look a little something like that. That's one of my favorite moves in card magic, one of my favorite ways to control a card, actually. And then there's another method you could actually do known as the jiggle pass. This one I'm not really a huge fan of. You can basically be fidgeting with the cards, you can jiggle. See how you give it back and forth? Basically, you would do the pass and then just jiggle the deck. I don't like that one. I think that just looks weird, because when in a real life situation do people do this with a deck of cards? You know what I'm saying? So if you guys think that's comfortable for you and you want to do it, feel free. I'm just letting you know personally, the jiggle pass is not for me. All right, so those are different ways to help cover up the pass. I didn't go over them too in depth, so if you have any questions, let me know in the comment section below, or if you want me to make like an in-depth video on how to really do, say, the dribble pass, then let me know. I would be more than happy to do so. But yeah, that is essentially the classic pass and how to cover it up in a nutshell. But here is a huge tip I want to give every single one of you. This is a tip I actually got from Alex Pandrea himself, and This doesn't just go for the classic pass, but it goes for almost every sleight you can think of in card magic. You don't simply just want to practice the move until you get good at it, then perform it. You want to practice it in the context of an actual card trick, or in the context of using patter. Because a lot of the things that magicians will do, including myself when I practice, is, let's say it's the classic pass, for example. It's just get a break, do the pass, get a break, do the pass, get a break, do the pass. Obviously, again, I'm not trying to hide it at this point, right? But this creates a bad habit, because what happens? What we do is we come in, we look at the deck, we slouch ourselves, we look, and we're just practicing getting the move down pat. This creates bad habits, though, because what happens when we're in a performance? What do? Let's say they pick a card, right? Let's say the magician or the spectator picks a card. They put it back. Okay, thanks for the card. Okay, now here's what's gonna happen. You see what that does? That's not okay. We don't want that. We want to do something more like this. Here, put the card back in the deck for me. Okay, thank you very much. So you can remember the card, perfect. Now, can you guys do me just a very, very quick favor? Like, take attention away from the deck. Do it so it makes sense in the context of your trick, and use your patter. Practice using patter, and practice in the context of an actual trick so you know when to do the pass, all right? But yeah, that is all my tips on